Good morning, traders. Today is Friday, April 28th. My name is Charles, and this is the Pirate Traders live stream. Thank you so much for joining us. Give me a few seconds to get my bearing here. I'm running a bit late this morning. All right, well, let's just start by asking ourselves what happened yesterday. What happened at the end of the day yesterday? Well, in the morning, the market broke out above the previous day's high. It ended up finding support, and then it began to head its way back up towards what was the opposite end of the previous balance area. Actually, I'm going to stretch this out a bit. Okay. So basically, we have this very large balance area that the market has been inside for the last month. And we just tried to break out. We tried. We gave it all the effort we have. And yesterday, the market said, nope, we can't do it. We can't go lower. So instead, it had to go up, right? If we can't find the sellers to take the market lower down here, we have to take the market back up looking for the sellers at that higher price. That is what I believe is now in effect. So the thing about a balance area is that once you fail to go to one end, you increase the odds you're heading to the opposite end, which in this case would be somewhere around the 4180 area. But the problem is you don't have to go in a straight line. As a matter of fact, what happened yesterday is less common. The just slingshot effect, it does happen, but it is less common. So now there is a very real possibility we could have a sideways day, even a day that pulls back within yesterday's range, and we're still working our way back up towards that opposite end. So I'm going to look at this morning once again, as always, as a chop zone, as we should, because of all the time we've spent grinding around in here before, and look for buyers or sellers to take charge of the market this morning. However, I do think there's going to be opportunities either way. Whether we need to pull back down and backfill a little bit of the weakness that we created yesterday, or we can continue the momentum higher back up towards the opposite end. I think either of those two scenarios present us with some, opportunity, right? Some volatility. So the levels that I'm zooming in and looking at this morning, well, we're testing the resistance right now. I was going to say that overnight point of control at 41.49 is the first potential resistance. Then the closing price of yesterday, 41.54. If either of those hold as resistance, I would expect the market to get smacked back down through the opening price. And look for support down in here around the 41.40 area. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is your chop zone where they will chop it up. And we'll have to wait until they break out of there before we can get any really good high probability opportunities. However, the way we trade while we're inside this chop zone could give us some signals. So far, we're through the first resistance, no problem. So now we're looking for resistance around 41.53, 41.54. And then we'll see what happens at the halfback. Charles, you just said so many words, and I'm so confused. Are you a bull or a bear? Do you think market go up or market go down? The answer is, I don't know. I think the higher probability is that the market will go up and that we will close much higher today. But I could see a scenario where we have to go sideways first. So I can't be a bull or a bear as a short-term day trader. I have to just wait and figure out where the momentum is on the pullback or on the continuation higher. And then I play that. All right, so we're looking for resistance here around 53, 54. We got 121 people hanging out. What's up, everyone? Welcome. If you wouldn't mind hitting that thumbs up button, hitting that little like button, I sure would appreciate it. Really helps out if first thing in the morning, the very first people that arrive here at the live stream, if they hit that like button, it tells the algorithm to send more people my way. Mike, welcome, Mike. Happy to have you. Good morning to Maya, Tim A, Darth Liquidity, Infornity, Andrew G, Chillin' with Dylan, Daniel, Philip, Joe, The Shaw, Waffles, Nap, ES, Trade Monkey, $6 million man, Juan J, Pavel, Scoop Ball, Scalping Strategy, Fighter Pilot. Fighter Pilot says, smart, positive trading today. Pick up the e-course. Pick up the e-course today over the weekend. Oh, thank you so much. And don't forget, the workshop starts on Monday. The workshop is the all-inclusive education. I teach you not only how to read the market profile chart and the Bookmap and the internals like I do, but how to create a system as an individual trader, how to develop a winning strategy, how to analyze your own psychology, and how to make adjustments when you figure out what's going wrong. All of that and more in the workshop. In the workshop. Well, Charles will teach you to trade in the workshop. Risk management, hey. Oh my God. Someone better sign up after all that effort. Link in the description. Good morning to Tim, G, Jerry T, Impt, Blue Shirt, Nor Auto Trading, 777, and Invictus. Welcome. Frito, Gino, and TV. Good to see you. Jay, so probably I will need to start. So far, this is a little bit bullish, right? Because we keep poking into resistance, but we're not coming back down through the halfback. Traditionally, if the market wants to keep chopping and chopping and chopping, it will easily just keep passing through that halfback. So it is a little bit bullish to see that we continue to find support and poke at that resistance again and again. Now, does that mean I'm jumping into a long trade? Absolutely not, right? I'm still waiting for confirmation. But it's the first bullish signal that I can take into consideration. Wanted says, what time does the workshop start? 11 a.m. 11 a.m. every day. Charlie comes out to play. Hey, hey. So yeah, it'll be about an hour, hour and a half long lecture on a particular subject matter. And then we just hang out and talk about live markets and answer questions after that. For 2 weeks. All right, so here we go. Let's test that halfback. Can they hold it? If they are going to break the market higher, a signal would be holding support here. Nora Auto Trader says, can we look at the queue? I'll do it for you. Man. Okay, so the queue could have been a look above and fail of the overnight range. So the queue literally just straight slingshotted to the opposite end. So this is your balance area right here. So as soon as they got above, so the Q is actually a day ahead of the ES with the look below that failed. And boy, we wouldn't have known because they did it in the overnight. That was a tough one, that look below and fail. But there was a gap up, right? Yesterday, you could have played the gap. Yes, sir. Gap and go. They gave it to you. They made it easy. So there you go. They took that slingshot. They took that momentum that was actually created in the overnight. So the look below and fail of that balance area happened in the overnight. And the momentum of that kept going right from the open, continued into the overnight. And then now you may have just had a look above that failed. So the Q is in a position where it really could go either direction. It could head right back down. As look above and look belows of balance areas do count in the overnight. So what I'm watching on the Q to get an idea of what's going to happen moving forward is the halfback now as resistance. That would be bearish if they start to hold 13,207. And then if they get below that overnight low and that becomes resistance, 13,171, push below becomes resistance, well, then I get very bearish very quickly as a potential look above and fail, right? That new selling would be bearish to see. But chop zone wise, they could just poke down here and then pull right back up. In which case, it's just still a chop zone. And I would call that chop zone pretty much like this right here. So like between 13,140 and 13,250. That's their chop zone. Oh no, I didn't turn off the mic in time. No. Sorry, guys. Okay, so ES found support at that halfback. That is bullish to see. And we're now pushing into the resistance once again. So that increases the odds. We're heading up to test yesterday's high at 41.57 and see if we can find buyers there. I would say I am now bullish as long as we stay above the current halfback level, 41.50. If we pull back down through there again, that is likely going to lead to more chop. Okay, so we just created a poor high. Or I'm sorry, a weak high for today, but on top of the poor high from yesterday. That is very, very weak, increasing the odds. We need to, once again, test that overnight high, test yesterday's high, poke above there and see if there's any business up there to be had. Little poke. These are the type of setups that I love to see, where the market presents me with opportunities, where I have probabilities in my favor and a chance to get into a trade to play that probability with very little risk. Both high probability and asymmetric. Wouldn't that be nice? Nab says consumer sentiment in 10. We'll expect the bots to ghost for a minute there. WWS looking for a fellow trader to share work from home Twitter. Yeah, you sent me a message about that. I responded. I said you could talk about it in the Discord if you want. Basically, he lives in Miami, if I remember correct, and he's looking for somebody to be a roommate and trade together. Do you guys think I should put together a New York trading co-op? Rent some like sick building and rent out all the rooms to traders and turn like the living room into like a trading desk. It's just all computer monitors everywhere. Just people shouting out. Tesla's at the VWAP. Just from every direction. Yeah, we could call it the pirate ship. That's what it'll be called. Okay, there's a guy who does a co-op in Puerto Rico. Let me guess. Crypto co-op. Oh, this is a real thing. Well, then we have to do it at some time. That would be fun. Should we do a Vegas trip? A pirate traders where we just all go to Vegas at the same time for a week? And we just hang out together and trade and then gamble at night? Is this a brilliant idea? Guys, we hit the markets all day and then we hit the casinos all night as a group. Who's with me? Catherine, I'm your huckleberry. ES Train, mandatory pirate attire. Of course. Did I not mention that? We're all wearing pirate hats and fake beards and cheap plastic hooks. We're carrying them around with us everywhere. This is happening. Oh, of course. Eye patches. Eye patches for everyone. Then they'll never think. Well, see, they'll never think we're counting cards. They'll be like, this group can't be card counters. They're just a bunch of silly tourists dressed up as pirates. They got nothing. They have eye patches. They've only got one eye. Little do they know. We manage risk. Oh, man. This high is getting weaker and weaker. It's real sellers, real resistance. "777 says maybe BTC front running ES. I don't think it works like that. Yeah, no, they're doing their own thing. Scooball says, will there be a pullback for me or just rocket to the sky? I think there will be. I think we got to poke above the poor high, but then the next pullback will be reliable. I don't trust this 41.55 level. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we may have the potential for a bot shenanigan zone. We've set up the resistance above, very, very weak, purely to build liquidity above yesterday's high. Will there continue to be support at 55? Is this the bot shenanigan zone? Could it be? All right, well, there's the Bookmap going dark for the news, for those consumer numbers. Now they can move it anywhere. Brace yourself. They've got nothing holding them back. All right, pulling value up to the high of the day is a little bit bullish to see, as well as pulling the Ferris price higher. Still in that bot shenanigan zone. The BSV already has an acronym. Are you down with the BSV? Yeah, you know me. We got 124 people hanging out, only 69 likes. please smash that like button if you're enjoying the stream so far. If you like watching the bots, chop it up here. All right, so here we go. We have a poor high, extremely poor. We have a very strong magnet above. We have momentum. We can see the momentum in the fact that value is higher. So if there is an opportunity to buy support in here, you could get in with very little risk and a very high probability the market's coming back for that poor high. Food for thought. Okay, will they make it poorer? Still poor. There's the repair. All right. Well, there goes the momentum. Now the question becomes, can they find new buyers up here above yesterday's high? That would be bullish for continuation to the upside. All right, so we got short covering happening up here. Do we get new buying? Can they hold 41.58? End of month. Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah. It's Friday. It's the end of the month. There's got to be some options expiring somewhere, which could lead to generally less volatile behavior and more of a compressed and rotational type of market. But that's not what we have so far. So far, we have momentum. A lot of it. Man, more short covering. Obviously, this increases the odds for a test of the overnight high. I wouldn't expect they can keep it going much beyond there. They got to pull back in. But this is bullish to see. More and more longs admitting their wrongs. Or sorry, shorts admitting they're wrong. Which makes them go long. Waffle says, this has been a nice run since the news dip. Yes, sir. The conspiracy theorist in me could say they knew it was coming. They brought us right up to yesterday's high. They turned it into a bot shenanigan zone so that they could get as many people long and as many people short as possible. They waited for that news to drop so that all the other bots stopped participating, freeing the market up. And then they made their move. Well played, whoever you are. Well played. It's always, every time we see this type of thing happen, we always realize it's so obvious after the fact. Like both the location at the previous day's high and the time, right at the moment of that news dump. That's why it happened there. That's why it happened then. It's so easy to understand afterward. You just don't think about it ahead of time. All right, there's a test of the overnight high. More short covering. Beep, boop, beep, boop. Uh-oh. There's something happening here. It's all just stops. Taking out the stops. All right, so like I said, we are back on track to head up towards the opposite end of balance, which is around 41.86. I don't think we're going to go in a straight line, although it feels like that right now. I really doubt it. Remember, we often have to kind of make pullbacks and kind of work our way up there. It's not as easy as just going in a straight line. But this is clearly the market telling us we have momentum to the upside. And the easiest explanation for that is we have to head up to the opposite end to look for new sellers. So I'm predicting a slow melt higher today, but I will need a good pullback to enter a trade. Cannot buy the high. Okay, first potential support is going to be 41.66. Although, to be fair, I don't really trust that. I think the stronger support is probably going to be down around 41.60. So on the way up, we left some low volume nodes here that need backfilling. Anytime I see a level inside the range with less than 200 contracts, it catches my eye as potentially the market may need to come back and put in some more volume there before it can really make a larger move. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have new buyers at the high. Bullish to see a sign of momentum. What do we look for momentum? If they build up volume, push to a higher price, build up volume, push to a higher price, and then they build up volume again at the higher price, it means they want to keep pushing up. And I know what you're thinking. I know you're all over here thinking it. But Charles, I remember yesterday. It was just yesterday when this market just continued to build support and push higher and keep going forever. And it just never, ever came back down. Well, it could do that. It could shock us how far they push it. But they can't push it up forever. So for me, when something like these two low volume nodes right on top of each other at 4167 and 4165, when those two low volume nodes are right at an overnight high, I cannot allow myself to ignore it. So I do think we still have momentum, but as soon as it runs out, we're coming back for that overnight high to test it for support. So I would say if you're in a long trade, don't fall in love with it. Waffles, but it's pretty much all FOMO at this point. It's important to recognize yesterday's move higher was the potent combination of short covering and new money buying. That can't go on forever. So I doubt we're going to get short covering and new money buying all day today as well. So who are these buyers? Probably of the laggard variety. Probably the last of their kind. I could be wrong, and if I am, I won't be shocked. But it is something to think about. Who are these people? Slash robots. More new buyers. FOMO. 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 Come on, boys. We could do it. Let's push it again. All right, we're pushing up into some resistance here around 77. No resistance at all. All right, next resistance at 79. Oh, I stand corrected. All this FOMO buying at the highs, we are setting ourselves up for a rotational day inside the initial balance. Charles, why are you obsessed with this? Would you just shut up and let the market go higher? Well, no, but the problem is if we run out of buyers, the market can't go higher. It just can't. So if they keep buying at the high until there's just no one left to buy at the high, the market's going to have to go down. And that may be the end of the momentum for the day. Which would set us up to just grind sideways all day long. Ruda plays games. Thank you for the sub. Welcome. Enjoy the games. Charles, can you explain it to me again slowly, the way you would explain it if it was a workshop that you're doing next week that I want to sign up for? Yeah, absolutely. I'd be happy to explain it to you like that. So the idea is you got two types of buyers. You've got short-term speculating, FOMO. It's all emotional. They're gambling. They just want to put that quarter in the machine and feel good whether they win or not kind of traders. Those are the traders who every time the market pushes higher, they just keep buying at the high. And then it pushes higher and they buy more. And it pushes higher and they buy more. They just keep buying. That's FOMO buying. Okay? The problem with those FOMO buyers is they're buying out of emotion, not logic, not reason. So there's no reason for them to hold on to it once it runs out of momentum, right? So whenever the market starts to run out of steam and come back down, all those buyers panic out. Most of them lose money, and then the momentum is gone for the day. And now all we can do is go sideways because we've burned all those bridges. Whereas in a healthier market, the market pushes up and then it pulls back down with price. By pulling back down with price, you allow stronger hand buyers who are not FOMO buyers, buyers who are using logic and reason and will stay in the trade longer. You're giving them a chance to get in. So when the market starts the day like this in the initial bounce and it just shoots and shoots and shoots and shoots, it basically, please excuse the term, but it basically blows its wad first thing. And so then it's got nothing left for the rest of the day but to go sideways. And it ends up being a very annoying day to trade. So it would have been much healthier if the market would have given us some good pullbacks to bring in those stronger hand buyers. That is why this is disappointing to see. Okay, now take everything I just said and forget it because they left behind a poor high. So they're coming down to look for buyers and then they're coming back for that high. Woo! The momentum continues. Can they hold it? And there you have it. Ladies and gentlemen, we have run out of those FOMO buyers. So now we've just backfilled those two low volume nodes. Here is the market's chance to find new buyers. Oh boy. Ah, this must be news related. Someone said something. All right, so support at the overnight high is bullish to see. Obviously, it's a little bit harder to trust until the liquidity starts to come back in the Bookmap, until we start to be able to see, you know, the same amount of yellow that we had before. It's tough to trust support, but for now they're holding at the overnight high. So that was the larger pullback those stronger hand buyers were looking for. As of now, at this moment, they are buying. That is a sign we're heading back up to try to repair that poor high. And repairing that poor high would be the beginning of a trend to the upside. But like I said, that doesn't mean FOMO into a trade right now. It's just bullish to see that they're holding it for the moment. And now we just need to see that liquidity step in and prove that it's good, solid support. Or not. We'll find out. Informity says, First Republic Bank is the third bank to fail. More. More blood on the streets. We want more. Scott, you think you're making a joke, but that's the truth. Everything really is fine. Banks are collapsing around us and like everything is fine. We need more. Waffle says, done. Trailed my way to the top and got stopped. That's excellent. That's a good trade. You could look to re-enter. You don't have to be done. If they can hold the support, they still have the momentum. They have a poor high in need of repair. And once they repair it, they could push it again. You know what I mean? So you don't have to be done for the day, but that was a good way to trade that first set of momentum. Waffle says, Charles, I took your last workshop. I don't have market profile. I still found many pearls of wisdom that helped my trading. Risk analysis was worth the price of admission. I agree with that. I think just the amount of you that don't comprehend the risk you're taking when you enter a trade. If you can just walk away understanding that, I promise you it will save you way more than $150 worth of losses in the future. No matter how you trade, no matter what your system is, just understanding your risk will make a lot of difference. But thank you for saying so. Invictus says, I have rules. I'm not giving it back. It's Friday. It's the end of the week. It's the end of the month. Calling it a day. That's fair. I'll take that. Frito's calling it a day too. Everyone's out. Guys, the momentum isn't over. You guys, what if it keeps going? No, that's fine. Enjoy your weekend, everyone. Scarface, so Vegas only an idea? No, I mean, I would be down to do something like that. I don't know how I would gauge you guys' interest, but I would do it. Jason, no, don't say that. I'm talking about making money. I'm talking about making money. And Victus says, I'm still with you. Thank you, brother. It is a Friday. I get the impulse, but the day is not done. Um, Frito says, I'm surprised they didn't one tick the B high when they were up there. They did. It's poor. Yeah, I don't know what you're looking at. My chart says we were one tick away. The B high was 41.7825 and the C high was 41.78. Maybe you didn't get a fill. Maybe you were on the bid-ask spread. Here we go again. Making it even weaker. Here we go, governor. Another poke at the high. I don't know why the American market just became British all of a sudden. It happens. Oh, jolly good. Frito, no, I haven't started the new season yet. Thank you for reminding me. That's one I got to watch. I've been looking for a new show. I forgot about that. Dude, even weaker. Frito, it's like a warm bowl of mashed potatoes and gravy. Yeah, it's comfort food. It really is. Steven says, what does making it weaker suggest at the high? Steven, you know this. We talked about this. So it's the bots, right? It's the fact that, it's not you or me. It's not the retail trader Joe Schmo that's shorting right exactly to the tick at a previous reference. So you can see the highs here. We stopped right here. We stopped right here. We stopped right here. We stopped right there. Over and over and over again. We keep just reversing at this exact area. And all that tells us is that that's probably not humans, right? I mean, we couldn't be that exact if we wanted to. That's probably the computers that are going short there. Well, why are they doing that? Why are they choosing to go short right at the highest area every single time, again and again and again? Well, it's because they want to force the market down there. They want to stop it from going up and make it go down. And they've picked that as the level. So that's why it's weak. Okay? So why do they want to do that? What's in it for the bots that they would push the market down like that? Well, because then you get convinced to be a seller and you go short. Where do you put your stop? You put it right up above there. So then the market comes down and you're feeling like the king of the world. Well, that computer, guess what it's doing down there? It's accumulating a long position. So then the market comes back up. As it starts coming back, all those sellers start to panic. Boop, boop, boop. Before you know it, you go crashing right back through. So that's what makes it weak or poor. All right, no support at 70. Once again, looking to test that overnight high. Basically, I'm asking myself the question, are they going to do this again? Pull us back down to here, then bring us back up and play the game again. And the answer seems to be no. All right, so what am I thinking now? Well, I'm still bullish that we're coming back to repair that poor high for all the reasons I literally just explained. But now it is clear to me it's going to be a sideways day. We did run out of momentum. It is going to be one of those days where they blew their load in the A and B period, and now there's not enough FOMO buyers to keep it going. So it's very difficult to trade here at this point. I do see this area down here as being an excellent opportunity to get long to go back to that poor high. But enter at your own risk. It's really hard to call here. We're back in a balance area. They could go sideways all day. But to me, that poor high is still calling. And if we have to go sideways for a few hours and then poke up and get it, I'm fine with that. If that's what it's going to take. So I would describe myself as bullish, but very neutral in that bullishness. Well, that's interesting. Huh. All right, well, there goes the bullishness. It's gone, baby, gone. We're back to neutral. Okay, so I feel a little bit crazy even suggesting it, but it is very possible because we are still in the initial balance. I mean, it would be insane if this were to happen, but I'm just saying it's possible because we're still in the initial balance. If we were to push all the way back down and break the low, the A period low now, which again, I don't think is going to happen, but if it did, that could lead to the market pulling all the way back to backfill that weakness we left behind yesterday, right? Because of that balance area. So what I think is higher probability is what I just said. We'll find support. We'll probably go sideways all day long. And then at some point in the end of the day, we'll come back for that high. Maybe we get continuation, maybe not. But it's just going to be a very choppy, very difficult day to trade. But if we come back down and we take out this low, I mean, it could become liquidation city down here. So I just want you to be aware of that possibility, however unlikely. And there's something very suspicious to me about how this node of volume just randomly popped up right here. Hey, what's going on with you? So obviously that's the larger market makers trying to turn this into a magnet. They're trying to bring price back down here to get back here and fill these single prints. So stay nimble out there, folks. Higher probability is sideways chop, but it could be an interesting day. Yesterday, somebody said to me, Have you ever thought about looking at the TPOs in 15-minute increments instead of looking at them in 30-minute increments? And I said to them, well, what's the advantage? Like, what's easier? And they said everything. And I thought that's a silly thing to say. But then I thought to myself, you know what? What would it hurt, right? The reason I've never experimented with any other time frames for TPOs is because when I took courses with Jim Dalton, I asked Jim Dalton that question. I said, did you ever, try 15 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever? And he said, yeah, I've tried them all, inside, outside, and upside down. I figured out 30 minutes is the most reliable. It's the best one. Just stick with that. And so I always just thought, well, if it works for Jim Dalton, why argue with it? So yesterday, just for fun, I built out this little profile for myself, thinking, why not? Why not just look and see what happens? Is there any information in there? So the profile that you see over here, all the way on the left, that is the 30-minute TPOs. The one in the middle is 15-minute TPOs, and the one on the right here is 5-minute TPOs. And I spent the day yesterday kind of watching the market. Obviously, it was an unusual market, not a normal day. But I sat and I watched the market work its way higher all day long, looking at it on all three of the TPOs throughout the day. And my initial reaction is there might be some insights to the 15-minute TPOs. It may be easier to recognize when momentum rolls over a little bit sooner. But on the 5-minute TPOs, it's a complete waste of time. It's nothing but noise. I did notice there would have been sort of an algorithmic trading system you could have created yesterday with the one time framing higher on the 5-minute. But that was just the particular market of yesterday, and obviously not something that a regular day trader would want to trade. So I have a very high confidence I'm never going to want to mess with the 5-minute TPOs. That is just too much noise. But there might be something to these 15 minutes. So then last night I was thinking to myself, okay, well, what do I have to do now? If I want to start watching these 15 minutes as well as the 30, so that I can start to experiment with my brain and let it start to see if it can find any new information in here. Should I really do that right before I start a workshop? And then I was like, all right, well, cool. This is what I'm going to have to do. I'm going to have to just set this aside for a couple of weeks, do the workshop, then afterward I can explore. And then I realized, wait, Charles, no, this is ridiculous. You should do the exploration in the workshop while you're teaching people how to look at market generated information and glean new insights from it and develop systems based on those insights. Why not do it right in front of them? So that is one thing that I'm going to be talking about a little bit over the next few weeks during the workshop is how you might be able to look at something you've never looked at before and recognize opportunities that you maybe wouldn't have seen otherwise, as I'll be pointing those things out. All the more reason to sign up. Starts Monday morning. Monday, na 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 na. And looking at the market that way in the 15-minute candles, I would have seen the early morning momentum as a trend. I would have seen that trend coming to an end in the E period, assumed the market was rolling over from there, and could have potentially gotten into a one-time framing trade. So that meant in the C period, I could have gotten long. I would have gotten stopped out of that long at the E period low here. That would have given me a chance to get short at the F period high with a low risk short. And I'd be in that short at this very moment. Interesting. Back to the 30 minutes where I feel at home. Oh, yeah. The market is rotational. So you can look for opportunities to sell resistance above, but you must be cautioned with that poor high. That is a giant magnet that's tugging on price. So it is true that both as we get closer and closer to it, we're getting further and further from the fairest price. But we may need to repair that magnet first before we come back. Peter says, I'm here. Oh, it was you, Peter. Thank you, Peter. He says he agrees on the 5-minute. I have always opened the 15 and 30-minute TPOs because there seems to be some extremely interesting during times of extreme volatility. Yeah, that's what I'm saying is like that insight right there. The 15-minute, the 30-minute hadn't even begun trending yet, right? We were still in the first 2 TPOs. But the 15-minute gave us that trend first thing in the morning, and then it got us out of that trend. It also gave us an opportunity to recognize another one. So, I mean, maybe there's something to it. Too early. Too early to say. Dark Liquidity says, I think that the 30-minute market profile gives excellent context, but if you want to trade off smaller time frames, use Bookmap. Sure, I mean, that's possible, but Bookmap doesn't do a good job of helping you comprehend time, which is what market profile does. Like when you look at this chart, I mean, even if you zoom out, it's kind of hard to recognize like how much time we spent here versus here versus here versus here, as opposed to like the fact that most of the time today was actually spent up here. That's what I like the market profile for. Screwball says, this is a crazy market for this poor high now. I don't know. I think Invictus said it earlier. It's the end of the month. I don't think we should really let ourselves be surprised by anything today. There's a lot of things rolling over. A lot of speculating is happening. So now I feel like we're going nowhere. We're probably going to close right at the POC, right at 4160 probably at the end of the day. But I can't really be surprised by anything. Scott says, poor high on the NQ as well. Yes, sir. Man, NQ. Ugh, rotational AF. So that's like another rejection off the balance area high. Yeah, that's bearish to see. So again, it's like they left that poor high behind. So it makes you think they need at least one more little poke. But it sure looks like they're running out of steam. I would say on the Q, keep a very close eye on that low. It's weak. It's right at the overnight low. If they poke below there, they can start to bring in new sellers and liquidate. Weird day. NQ looks like it needs to go down while the ES looks like it needs to go up. One Punch Panda says, is the D period poor low a magnet too? It's not a poor low, it's a weak low, but yes, it is a magnet. But that kind of is now to be expected. Now that we know we're rotational, now that we know we're just going to chop inside the initial balance, we expect lots of weak references on both sides. The bots are going to play tug of war. Would it be bearish to break it? Not really. it would just take it away. So I'm not going to say we're heading back down to test this huge node of liquidity at 4132 in the Bookmap. Not at all. But if something random happens to this today, it'll be worth noting. So if it sits there all day, I'll be almost certain we're coming for it on Monday. And if it disappears at some random moment today, I would look for a big move in the market as a result. Somebody's trying to do something to get business to come down here. So if that randomly disappears, it's gone. Well, then they're done trying to pull the market down. But as long as it's there, I just want to be aware of it. A little fishy. Knapp says the monthly high was put in during the overnight session. Mr. Dalton says it's very unusual for that to stand. Curious to see how that plays. Yeah, that is another one. Generally, highs and lows for the market, if they're created in the overnight, are weak and will be tested. See, but I'm not as worried about that one because that's the look above and fail. See, I see that as the larger balance area that we've been talking about. Maybe not quite there, but so this balance area here, the idea would be the reason we made the high there was not because it was good, strong sellers choosing to take the market there, but because we opened the next day below it and that brought in the sellers, right? So in that particular, this would be that one random scenario where it's not as important because it's already played out. That being said, if we're able to get up above, 4180, that would be a great target to go test that overnight high. Screwball says, I still don't think it's chopping at the middle. It's fight. So he's essentially what he's trying to say is he doesn't see it as chop, as like the market doesn't know what it wants to do, so it's just going to go sideways until it does. He sees it more as like a tug of war. Like they're trying to take it up and the other half are trying to take it down and they're fighting each other. That could totally be the case. I just don't know how we would know the difference. I think it's best to view it as chop. And then deal with a breakout once that happens, which is exactly what happened yesterday, by the way. So for those of you that were watching the live stream, at the end of the live stream, I called for rotation. And then it was like literally like 10 minutes after the live stream was over that it broke out. Yeah, it was the D period had popped down here. We'd gotten cessation of the trend. We were like probably like right here when I decided to like stop trading or stop live streaming. I was like, all right, guys, it's probably just going to go sideways for the day. So I'm not going to keep going. And then like literally 10 minutes later, it was like straight up and then instantly started finding support right at that previous high. So was I able to stay in the trade from the opening price all the way up, which is what I would have loved to have done? No, I was not. Right. But I was able to instantly recognize, oh, it's time to get back into that momentum, and then caught the second half of the move. Right. And then I felt like a king because I knew it was a look below and fail. So that's kind of how I'm talking about today, is I would see it that same way as like, all right, if right now I see it as choppy and it turns out they are just building steam for another big, huge move up, I'll jump on that move up here once they repair the poor high and bring in new buyers. I may not catch the whole move, but I'll still catch a good bit of it. But like I said, the higher probability is sideways. Boop, boop. Any last questions for me? I'm going to call it a day here. So if you've got anything you want to know about what's going to happen today, about what's going to happen on Monday, about whether or not you should sign up for the workshop and join us, ask away. This is your chance. Speak now or forever hold your peace. And by the way, please smash that like button. 120 people hanging out, only 79 likes. How much is the workshop? $145. Screwball says it's building volume above yesterday's high with a poor initial balance high. Yeah, no, I mean, you're right. It's a totally fair argument. The question is, do I want to go long right now to repair the poor high? Or would I rather wait for the poor high to be repaired and then choose to go short on the way back down or go long on the repair, right? So it's like it pushes all the way up here. It comes back down. Am I shorting to come back to the POC? Or am I longing for continuation? There I will be able to know with high probability what is happening and what is the best way to trade it. Whereas right now, in the middle of the initial balance, right here, it's a guess. So you might be right. I am not disagreeing. I'm just saying that information is not strong enough for me to get me into a trade. Short against the trend? Yes. If it fails, right? If it pushes all the way back up here and it can't keep going and it pulls back in, yes, I guess technically I'd be shorting against the trend, but we'd be in the E period. It would be okay. So to try to explain this in another way, if I'm making it too complicated, right? What did I say this morning? The fact that it was FOMO buying that got us up here. I said it in the B period when we were like right here. Okay. I said, because it's FOMO buying that got us up here, we can't trust it. You know, the FOMO buying only lasts as long as it lasts. We need the pullback to bring in those stronger hands to be able to get a real move. So I think the momentum you think you're seeing is gone. I think that was FOMO. I think that was just short-term traders freaking out and going long and short and computers jumping on board. And so what you think you're seeing is that pullback to stronger support for continuation. I disagree. I think what's really happening is just sideways. And this happens to be the up move of that sideways. So I could be wrong and you could be right, but that's how I feel. I think we gave it all we had in the morning, and now we're just going to go sideways until that market closes. Scuba says, I see the double week high is made to create liquidity. Yeah, okay. So let's say I agree with you. I 100% agree with you. I was talking about it when we were there. But here's my question. Once we get to that liquidity, what do you think happens next? Do you think we're going to get up there, find that little pocket of liquidity, and then continue higher? I do not. I think we're going to find it and then come right back down. So I'm not, if that's what I believe, if in my heart and soul, I believe that when we get there, it's going to run out of steam and come back down. That's not how I want to look at market. I don't want to look to be a buyer up here. I don't want to feel like it's momentum. I want to give myself clarity of understanding that it's probably going to run out of steam as soon as it gets that liquidity and come back. There's just as much money to be made on the way down. Only I'll have a much higher chance of being right because I'll have way more information than you have right now, which is just that weakness. So if you're long the market at this moment to go up there and repair that poor high, I'm totally fine with that. It's just not a trade I'm interested in. Whereas the trade for continuation I would be, or the trade to fail I would be. Because I would feel more certain of my understanding of what's happening at that point. Scooball, 50-50 for me at the high. That's what I'm saying. We've talked about this before, man. You just don't like breakouts. I love them. Those situations are my favorite. The situation where it's like anything could happen. It could break higher. It could break lower. It could, like that. That's where I thrive. That's what I love. This, where it could be boring and slowly grind sideways for 4 hours and then maybe eventually get up there, that's the shit I can't stand. But just chilling and relaxing and waiting until it's there and then having to make a decision in a split second and trust my instincts and stay patient and wait for it to play out, that's my jam. That's where I do well. But we know you don't. You don't like balance area highs and lows. You don't like breakout highs and lows. We've been over it. A difference between us as traders. All right, so with that, I will say goodbye. John says, I hate everything. Why do you hate everything, John? Don't hate everything. Everything's going to be all right. Whatever it is, this too shall pass. Have a good weekend, everyone, and we will see you on Monday morning if you're a member of the brigade. Actually, we'll see all of you on Monday morning because I'll be streaming from the Bookmap channel. And then those of you brave souls who have signed up for the workshop, you were willing to spend $145 to invest in your future, to say to yourself over a 2-week period of listening to this dude give lectures for over an hour every day, surely I will learn one single idea that will help me either make $150 or not lose $150. $150 is only 3 points on the ES. If you don't think over a 2-week period there could even be a single thing that I could say, well, then you should not participate. But I hope to see you there. All right. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.